Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 124 based on novel. So let's start. The stronger the strength, the more lives Luo Feng is willing to protect. Some areas of these 729 chaos states are the back garden of the Thunder Ancient Kingdom, and some areas are the buffer zone between the two ancient kingdoms and the Wanjie Kingdom and Heavenly Wood Kingdom. Without the tacit consent of the emperors and monarchs of the two ancient kingdoms, how could the Iron Tiger Demon Lord and the Black Eagle Ancestor be allowed to cause trouble for a long time? After occupying this territory, I have come to the fore. Luo Feng thought, with a public identity, it will be more convenient to trade with the two ancient kingdoms and the three alien races. Although he killed Emperor Yuan, Luo Feng was still willing to trade with the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom. He believed that the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom would handle the relationship with each other rationally. If the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom is really crazy, Luo Feng doesn't mind taking action again to make them sober up. Master, how do we seize this territory? Morosa looked at the master. Morosa, occupying these 729 chaos states depends on you to fight. Luo Feng smiled at Morosa. Me? Morosa thought for a moment, his eyes gleaming. Master, these 729 chaos states involve a lot. I'm going to fight alone. You can use your peak world beast strength as my servant. Luo Feng said, as a peak world beast, it's okay to occupy this area? Morosa felt his blood boiling, his eyes were bloodshot, and he said excitedly, after waiting for so long, the master finally allowed me to display the true strength of the world beast. He had endured for too long. Luo Feng's eyelids jumped, and he even reminded him, Morosa, you know what to do and what not to do. He was going to command the 729 chaos states, not to set off a monstrous catastrophe. Don't worry, Master hates evil, I know what to do. Morosa replied, then I'll start now? Luo Feng nodded. Although in terms of strength, he is more powerful with the Star Tower in his hand after comprehending the great Tao of life and death. But in terms of many means, there are still more world beasts in the ultimate realm. At night, Morosa was in the sky, overlooking the vast world. His eyes were dim, and the desires from his soul were stirring. I have endured for too long. Finally, with the master's permission, I can enjoy myself a little. Morosa knew very well that his behavior must be within the framework set by the master. The master hates evil as much as his enemies. I will kill those who are guilty of great sins, and the master will not say anything. He, it's you. One by one, delicious food, here I come. Morosa was more powerful than Luo Feng in locking the enemy. In an instant, he had locked all the God King level beings in the 729 chaos states. This is also a normal method of the ultimate realm. The third-rate kingdom, Wind Wolf Kingdom, is an inconspicuous small kingdom in the buffer zone between the 10,000 Worlds Kingdom and the Thunder Ancient Kingdom. The narrow strip in the middle of the range demarcated by Luo Feng happened to include the Wind Wolf Kingdom. The territory actually ruled by the Iron Tiger Demon Lord is now a mess. I hope it won't affect me. The Wind Wolf Kingdom Lord was entrenched there, and he swallowed a crystal ball with hundreds of millions of lives imprisoned in the crystal ball. The Wind Wolf Kingdom Lord is a guest official of the Thunder Ancient Kingdom, and he also has the chaotic origin bloodline. This third-rate kingdom can provide him with enough blood food. For a small kingdom like him that occupies a marginal position, it is already very low-key to eat blood food in moderation within his own kingdom. I am a guest official of the Thunder Ancient Kingdom, and the Lord Lingyu of the 10,000 Worlds Kingdom is also a good friend of mine. The Wind Wolf Kingdom Lord felt that no matter how the outside world changes, his position is very stable. Suddenly, an invisible force enveloped him. The Wind Wolf Kingdom Lord looked around in astonishment, but found that he had entered a dark place with wrinkles on the edge of the dark place. Spare, as soon as the Wind Wolf Kingdom Lord opened his mouth, his body and soul had melted, completely dissolved, and became a part of this dark place. This Wind Wolf Kingdom Lord has cultivated the chaotic origin bloodline, but he is still too weak. Next. Morosa said with a smile on his face. God King level food, or eating both the body and soul, is too rare. So, one portion of food after another. Morosa cherishes food very much, and he started one by one. Even the Black Eagle ancestor was devoured by Morosa. How is it possible? The Black Eagle ancestor was stunned. In a secret palace, his clone was suddenly devoured. The chaotic origin bloodline he cultivated contained a deadly poison. The ultimate life form would be damaged by this poison. Now there is actually a strong man who swallowed him directly. After swallowing, his clone was instantly annihilated, and the other clones in the outside world were also killed by invisible curses. Only the clone in Thunder Mountain was still alive. Last time it was the black-robed strongman spiritual will attack, this time it was swallowed and cursed. The Black Eagle ancestor felt aggrieved. After all, he was a famous existence, but only the clone hiding in Thunder Mountain could survive by chance. Morosa swallowed 9 sinful god kings in a row, and only the Black Eagle ancestor survived. The other 8 god kings, no matter how they had the ability to save their lives, could not escape the attack of the peak world beast. What? 8 god kings died in a row? 2 god kings of the second level, 6 god kings of the first level? I don't know if they have reincarnated. There are only a few hundred god kings in the origin continent. Now that 8 of them have died in succession, the other god kings of the origin continent are indeed a little trembling, and a little sad, fearing that they will be the next one. It's time for the next step. After eating some of the sinful god kings, Morosa smiled and instantly split into 23 clones, each going to meet the other god king staying in this territory. Yunnan Kingdom, the capital. The god kings of the surrounding kingdoms died one after another. Yunnan God King was very uneasy. Suddenly, she saw darkness covering the entire capital. A simple and honest old man appeared and looked at her coldly. Under the invisible aura, Yunnan God King felt how insignificant she was. This old man was afraid that he would die if he had a thought. Yunnan God King felt that this was the most terrifying existence he had ever seen. Your Majesty. Yunnan God King immediately saluted respectfully with a very humble attitude. My master is determined to lead the surrounding 729 chaos states, which naturally includes your Yunnan Kingdom. Morosa looked at Yunnan God King. Your sins are quite light, so you can survive. When Yunnan God King heard this, he immediately understood. The 8 dead gods were indeed those with deep sins. You have 2 choices, 1, to surrender to my master. 2, to leave quickly. Morosa looked at Yunnan God King. May I ask who is the master of your majesty? Yunnan God King was nervous and excited at the moment. She felt that she had come into contact with a truly terrifying existence in the origin continent. This old man was the most powerful existence she had ever seen, and he was just a servant. How terrifying must the old man's master be? Not long ago, my master just killed Emperor Yuan. Morosa said. Yunnan God King knelt down respectfully without hesitation, and said, Yunnan, I am willing to follow you. In the long history of the origin continent, the only one who could kill the Emperor of the Flame-Wind Ancient Kingdom was that mysterious existence. The most important thing is, the Flame-Wind Ancient Kingdom has not retaliated until now, and it has endured it. Very good. Morosa nodded. Similar conversations were taking place in 22 other places at the same time. Some of these god kings lived in seclusion here, some had ambitions, and some were assigned. But once they encountered Morosa's clone, the horror of the combination of Morosa's aura and the great Tao of destruction was so great that even the second-level god king felt trembling in their hearts, without any thought of resistance. Most of these god kings left, and a few chose to surrender and follow. Morosa did not prohibit the spread of the news, and the god kings who left quickly spread the news. The Black Robe is going to occupy 729 chaos states. His servants are suspected to be in the ultimate realm. These 2 pieces of information spread quickly, and all forces were waiting for the reaction of the 2 ancient kingdoms. After all, these 729 chaos states are too close to the 2 ancient kingdoms, and many places are adjacent. And such a large territory is close to the 2 ancient kingdoms. Will the 2 ancient kingdoms allow such a huge force to appear? But the strange thing is that the 2 ancient kingdoms are quiet and do not take any action. The 729 chaos states are rapidly integrating, and in the central area of the entire territory, a large city has been selected. Based on this, it will be expanded on a large scale and become the future capital. Follow me. Morosa walked in front, and the 9 god kings followed. These 9 god kings are the god kings who decided to follow the black robe. The black-robed golden-faced strongman has a big conflict with the flame-wind ancient kingdom. Following the black robe has risks, but it is also a great opportunity. After a while, walking deep into the palace, they saw a silver-robed figure standing there. Silver robe? The 9 god kings were a little confused. Master. Morosa saluted respectfully. Greetings to the Lord. The 9 god kings also saluted respectfully. Luo Feng then turned around, wearing a silver robe and a golden mask, overlooking them, and said leisurely, "You all know that I want to rule 729 territories to establish a kingdom of God. The name of this kingdom is Milky Way. Milky Way Kingdom? Milky Way." It was the first time they heard this name, and they all praised it immediately. "Congratulations, my lord. Congratulations, my lord. From now on, the Milky Way Kingdom will be on par with the 2 ancient kingdoms. The 2 ancient kingdoms are already in decline, but our Milky Way Kingdom is on the rise." These god kings praised, and they also had expectations for the future. Luo Feng watched this scene. Naming the Milky Way Kingdom is only the first step. In the near future, Luo Feng will completely disclose his identity. With the establishment of the Milky Way Kingdom, the strong men of the human race from my hometown should be able to guess my identity. Luo Feng thought. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Luo Feng activated the star tower in his body with a thought, which naturally affected the endless vast range. The world life form today cannot reflect the narrow and long range of the Milky Way God Kingdom. But with the help of the star tower, the range of the domain can be much wider, enough to cover the entire Milky Way God Kingdom. Whoosh tilde tilde tilde. There were faint blood-colored rivers appearing in the sky above the 729 chaos states, making countless creatures look up. From today on, the Milky Way God Kingdom is established. The Blood River domain is the God Kingdom. In the endless Blood River, the mighty sound spread, and also resounded in every part of the 729 chaos states. Such a terrifying power made the ancient beings of the origin continent tremble. They also realized the third force of the origin continent was born. In a vast wasteland, a young man looked into the distance. The vast and endless Blood River covered half of the sky. I was killed, and the flame-wind ancient kingdom did nothing. The young man's eyes were cold. Now that black robe is even more arrogant, occupying a vast territory, and wants to build a huge kingdom comparable to the 2 ancient kingdoms. I want to see if the 2 ancient kingdoms will continue to endure. Emperor Qing, ancestor of flame wind, ancestor of thunder, can you 3 really endure it? The young man said secretly. He is the reincarnated Emperor Yuan. Knowing that he does not have enough quota to cultivate into an ultimate life form, he will not return to the flame wind royal family at all. He knows that there are some people in the royal family who want him dead. If he dares to return to the royal family, his identity, I am afraid it will be leaked to the black robe soon. Emperor Qing and the other 2 may be in seclusion. Most of their energy is in the outside world. They only come out when they rest and relax. As for me, the most important thing for me now is to comprehend the complete Great Tao. The young man thought, it is better to ask for help from myself than to ask for help from others. His real realm is the peak of the 2nd level of the God King. Because he devoured countless creatures to assist in his cultivation, he even comprehended 5 ultimate realm secrets, which is considered to be relatively excellent among the emperors of the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom. In terms of realm accumulation, he ranks among the top emperors. In the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom, those who became ultimate realm life form, without the help of the chaotic origin bloodline, but only with the help of some chaotic origin treasures, generally have a deeper realm accumulation. Emperor Yuan, Emperor Chu, Emperor Jiufeng, and others are like this. Under normal circumstances, Emperor Yuan is enough to dominate the world, but he encountered Luo Feng, who had the Star Tower in his hand, and then he was completely defeated. If I comprehend more ultimate realm secrets, maybe I can break through. The young man took a step and disappeared silently. The Milky Way God Kingdom was established, and all parties in the origin continent were watching, waiting for the reaction of the two ancient kingdoms. Night. Milky Way God Kingdom, the capital. It's easy to establish a God Kingdom, but it's still difficult to maintain a stable existence and be on par with the two ancient kingdoms. Luo Feng sat high up in the 9-story pavilion, drinking alone. With the pride of the ancestors of the two kingdoms, can they tolerate the existence of the Milky Way God Kingdom? It's hard to say. I really look forward to the ancestors of the two kingdoms to take action, and to verify the flaws of my methods. Luo Feng is looking forward to fighting with the ancestors of the two kingdoms. With the research on the deep secret patterns of the Star Tower, his blood river is naturally more mysterious and terrifying, but it is also more difficult to find an opponent. The 8 emperors joining forces are not worth mentioning. Then all the emperors and monarchs joining forces are useless. Only Emperor Qing, the ancestor of the East Pole Territory, and the ancestors of the two kingdoms are worth challenging. Master, there are guests coming. Morosa appeared quietly at the side. I have found it. Luo Feng looked up and looked into the distance. A faint blood-colored wave swept by, and a middle-aged man appeared in the distance in a somewhat embarrassed state. In establishing the God Kingdom, I was prepared for the two ancient kingdoms to take action, and I have been maintaining the territory of the Star Tower. Who would have thought that the first to come was the old devil of time and space? Luo Feng shook his head secretly. He has never underestimated the two ancient kingdoms, so even the body sitting here is condensed from the endless blood river. The power can burst out with a thought. With continuous use, Luo Feng has become more and more proficient in using the Star Tower. This Kingdom Lord methods are really powerful. The embarrassed middle-aged man came over with a smile. The endless blood river contains endless mysteries of life. It can penetrate the past and the future, and penetrate everything. My shadow reflecting time and space cannot be avoided. If it is a complete great Tao of life, it is indeed like a long river of life, which can penetrate the past and the future. Luo Feng is now at the second level of the God King on the great Tao of life. It's just that the Star Tower is centered on the mystery of life. Luo Feng has a thorough understanding of some of its many secret patterns, such as being able to create 8 branch moves. Although he doesn't understand some of them, he can drive them. The domain driven out has already affected the past and the future, and all life concepts can hardly escape its penetration. I have heard of the name of the old devil of time and space for a long time. Luo Feng said. The middle-aged man looked at the silver-robed and golden-faced man in front of him. With his realm, he could see at a glance that this silver-robed and golden-faced man was a collection of extremely terrifying energy. Once this power erupts, it will simply destroy the world. In this origin continent, there is no opponent. This Milky Way Kingdom Lord should take the great Tao of life, and has surpassed the God King level. The old devil of time and space felt the terribleness of this terrifying power. The existence of these life paths will become more and more difficult to deal with later. As an enlightened person, the old devil of time and space knew it very well. The life path is good at saving life in the early stage and is weak in killing. But the further you go, the more bizarre and unpredictable the life path becomes. Because it can penetrate, distort, and destroy the essence of all life. If it can't kill you, it can also greatly damage your strength. You can't kill him. Flame, wind and thunder have met a tough opponent. The terrifying existence of the great Tao of life is simply invincible under the power restrictions of the origin continent. The old devil of time and space was somewhat gloating. The origin continent is the back garden of the ancestors of flame, wind and thunder. Most of the treasures eventually fell into their hands. The Milky Way Kingdom Lord appeared just to grab meat to eat. His competitiveness is much stronger than the 3 major foreign races. You should know what the 3 of us foreign races want most. The old devil of time and space said. He believed that the masked Milky Way Kingdom Lord should be an expert from the origin continent. But now, even he can't see through the true identity of the Milky Way Kingdom Lord. For kinds of treasures. Luo Feng said. Yes, it's mainly the remains of special beings and the secret methods and techniques left behind by Yuan. Old Devil of Time and Space nodded his head. I believe that with the strength of the Kingdom Lord, there is still a great chance of obtaining such treasures. I welcome the Kingdom Lord to trade with me at any time, and the conditions I give will definitely satisfy the Kingdom Lord. In his eyes, the Milky Way Kingdom Lord should be an existence beyond the level of God King, and the treasures he obtained in the origin continent must be extraordinary. This is a big customer. Take a look at these 5 secret treasures. What can you get in exchange for them? Luo Feng waved his hand and released the 5 pieces of trophies he got from Emperor Yuan: cloak, abyss pearls, armor, combat boots, and gloves. The old devil of time and space took a look and laughed. Is this the set of weapons and secret treasures left by Emperor Yuan after his death? The ancestor Flame Wind was indeed stingy. What he prepared for the younger generations of the tribe were all the secret treasures of the early stage the God Emperor. The secret treasure of the early stage God Emperor? Luo Feng's mind moved. Milky Way Kingdom Lord, you haven't left the origin continent yet, and you know nothing about the outside world? Seeing this, the old devil of time and space immediately understood. Luo Feng nodded. I have indeed never been there, and I know very little about it. The old devil of time and space smiled happily and said, from the ultimate God King to beyond the God King level, this step is a qualitative transformation. Once you surpass the God King level, there will be no great path to guide you, and you will need to grope in the dark for everything. I have no idea whether the path I have found is right or wrong. The old devil of time and space sighed. Sometimes you can still improve your strength even if you take the wrong path. But after a certain point, many problems will arise, and you may never be able to improve again. Luo Feng nodded. He knows. The 3rd level of the God King is guided by the Great Tao. Above the God King, one must grope in complete darkness, relying entirely on oneself. Therefore, in the special inheritance, practitioners are allowed to create high-level secrets methods with low-level realms to temper their understanding. Fortunately, groping in the darkness in the future will allow one to go further. The strong ones above the God King come from billions of worlds and have different schools, so naturally they are called differently. The time and space old devil said, some are called the God Emperor realm, some are called the Divine Emperor realm, some are called the Witch Ancestor realm, and some are called the Tao Lord realm. Because cultivating with the help of bloodline is the mainstream. Because it is the simplest, more than 99% of the strong people are from the bloodline school. The old devil of time and space said, bloodline schools are generally called the God Emperor realm. So the title of God Emperor is the most commonly used. The God Emperor realm is divided into 4 stages. They are the early stage God Emperor, the middle stage God Emperor, the late stage God Emperor, and the perfect stage God Emperor. Like the so-called Tao Lord realm, it is also divided into 1-step Tao Lord, 2-step Tao Lord, 3-step Tao Lord, and 4-step Tao Lord. No matter what the name is, it's all divided into 4 steps. Take 4 steps in the darkness. The 4th step has a common name, half-chaotic origin realm. The old devil of time and space didn't mind sharing this common sense and said, the half-chaotic origin realm represents a limit. Only by breaking this limit can one become a chaotic origin life form. For example, Yuan is a very powerful chaotic origin life form. Luo Feng understood. Above the God King, taking 4 steps in the darkness is the half-chaotic origin level. Above that is the chaotic origin life form. And the mysteries contained in these weapons and secret treasures determine their levels. The old devil of time and space said, your 5 secret treasures are all from the stage God Emperor. They are well made and more suitable for God Kings to use. Actually, these secret treasures are of no use to me. The old devil of time and space smiled at Luo Feng, but I will help you in this first transaction. I happen to have a life-related secret treasure from the late stage God Emperor. I believe it will be of some use to you. Just exchange this armor and this pearl, said the old devil of time and space. Luo Feng heard it. They were both early stage God Emperor secret treasures, and the value of a set of armor was much higher than gloves, combat boots, and cloaks. Only the Abyss Pearl could be compared to it. The old devil of time and space obviously chose the two most expensive items. Don't worry, I won't take advantage of you. When you leave the origin continent, you will understand. I still suffered a loss in this transaction. The old devil of time and space said with a smile. Okay, I agree to the deal. Luo Feng didn't waste any words. To be honest, Luo Feng looked down upon these 5 treasures of Emperor Yuan. Because the infinite space treasure house can also exchange for secret treasures, according to the introduction of those secret treasures, many secret treasures can be used at the half-chaotic origin level. For example, the one worth 50,000 reward points can weaken all attacks that do not exceed the half-chaotic origin level by 90%. Judging from the introductions to those secret treasures, some of them were conceptual means. Luo Feng guessed that they might be secret treasures made casually by the chaotic origin life form, suitable for use by the God Emperor level. The 5 secret treasures used by Emperor Yuan are relatively inferior. In the infinite space, whether it is inheritance or treasure, the value is extremely high. The only problem is that the reward points are too difficult to obtain. Luo Feng also thought, I have to be very careful with my reward points. The old devil of time and space smiled and said, I will arrange an incarnation to deliver the treasure. When he came to see Luo Feng, he didn't bring any valuables with him. He transported many treasures across an endless distance to the origin continent and naturally hid them carefully. He would only take out a portion of them for each transaction. Luo Feng sat there, waiting patiently. Soon, another figure of the old devil of time and space broke through the air and brought the items for transaction. This video will end here.